The fucking annoying moment when you're recording for half an hour, go to check your camera, and oh, your camera's decided to turn off. Hi chickens, you alright? So today I've got 3 things to talk to you about. The first is, do you like my headband? Whoa. This may or may not be some shameless self-promotion. This is a headband that I made for a DIY tutorial that's going up on Beauty in the Bongo on Wednesday, so if you'd like to see that or any of the videos that I've uploaded from that channel so far, please get the annotation or the link down below. Secondly is I want to talk to you about my childhood self. This is part of the Wonderly theme nostalgia, and let me tell you, I was a shit child. Like, after my perfect sister, I was probably the worst thing imaginable to my mother. So let's start at the very beginning. A very good place to start. I can literally work in Sound of Music to any part of my life ever. So the first story is when I lived in Colchester. There was this tree that was in the middle of all the houses and all the girls used to like dance around that. What I did as a normal perverted little child was lie on the ground and look up the girls' skirts. Why? I don't know. I wonder why people think I'm a lesbian. I just can't work it out. Then when we moved up north, there are some really horrible stories from when I was in first school. So I had this best friend for the first 2 years of school. After that, we got forced to be in separate classes because we were so naughty. You'd think, yeah, but you can still be friends. That's not how it works in first school. Click, click, click. So me and Jade were like best friends, and we were the naughtiest little kids ever. As in, we used to wee behind walls and be like, yeah, and what? And then I used to cut children's hair, I used to cut my own hair, I used to fall asleep all the time, I used to glue things to people. I made Jade sick on purpose because she didn't bring in a toy for show and tell, and I was like, look, you don't want to be embarrassed, so just drink all this milk, and then you'll be sick, and it'll be fantastic. Then you can go home. How great would that be? You can go home. So I stole milk from a lot of the other children, and I'd made her drink it really fast, and then she was sick. Really, I think that makes me a really nice friend, rather than someone that's really shit. But whatever, interpret it how you will. Then as I said, as me and Jade like went into different classes, I ended up not really having many friends. In fact, no friends. I had a different best friend every few days, and once they realised like how terrible I was and what a shit person I was, they just moved on, and then I got another best friend. So I spent a lot of my time just kind of walking around thinking my life was a musical, and we had this massive tree in the playground, and there was 2 trees. There was one like on a bit of a plinth, and then there was one that had like decking around it, and I called that the stage. And there were always these girls that were like, excuse me, we are the Spice Girls. And I'd be like, bitch, you ain't got nothing on me. So I used to do dancing and singing all for myself. And like a few people watched, but not really anyone, because they were like, that is a nutter. That girl, don't go near her, she's psycho. Which really didn't bother me. And I'm like, now that I'm looking back, like, all the insults that people used to give me and all the shit people used to give me really didn't affect me like at all. Like I was just like, yeah, and what? Like, I don't know if I just took them as compliments or what, but it seemed to work out for the best. You know how when you're young you remember people for specific things? I remember a lot of people from first school for very specific things. Like, there was a girl called Lorna who liked to pretend she was a dog and walked on 4 legs for about 10 years. And then there was also a guy called Sabino who collected bogies in his pockets. Collected them, like as if they were like little artefacts. Then when I went to school, I actually had a friendship group, and it was really weird for me because there were people from my first school that hated me, that stole Jade away, and then became like my best friends. We formed this little friendship group, and people used to call us the Goon Gang. And again, I didn't think that was a bad thing. I knew what goon meant. I just was like, yeah, what? And I'm a goon, part of the Goon Gang. And as part of the Goon Gang, we would pretend to be old ladies for fun. Yeah, and so Jan was called Blanche, I was called Beryl, there was also like a Beatrice, and even the boys were named like girl old lady names, and we used to do granny car races, but the aim of the game was to go as slow as possible. So you'd be on your little imaginary buggy, and you'd have to shit because you're old, and then all of a sudden, you fall over for no reason, because you often see, you know, old ladies trottering down on little 4-wheelers coming home from Tesco, having a nice old time, and then all of a sudden it doesn't happen, but it did in our heads. And it was the most amazing few years of my life. Like, honestly, I loved middle school because this friendship group, we were just so weird, we embraced each other's weirdness, and it was just so much fun. Like, I just loved it. I was really, really naughty as a child. I remember being told off like every single day, like whether it's because I'm sneaking Kit Kats into my pillowcase and then they'll obviously melt, or if it's because I like I'd wee somewhere in someone's garden, because what a thing to do, Alison. How did my mother cope? I swear all the time because Ginger Elizabeth told me to. Not because I wanted to, Ginger Elizabeth told me to. There was a time in middle school And in history class was my favourite lesson ever because there was a boy called Joshua Buswell and he was just so funny, but like not in a way that I think he meant to be funny. And so we had this really large history teacher she was lovely. She was called Miss Moriarty and just lovely, but she was quite large and she used to wear blouses that used to like gape, you know, between the buttonholes. So Josh, only about 3 rows back, used to whisper to me in this volume, I can see Miss Moriarty's boobs. So really just like the huskier version of speaking. And then I'd burst out laughing and she was Irish. She used to go, Joshua, you're so stupid, don't you know? And it was just so, oh my god. Like, we used to just be in hysterics all the time. And a girl was like, I can't breathe. And Josh was like, in just complete naivety, went, well, if you can't breathe, why aren't you dead? And just at the time, it was like the funniest thing. And I miss those times. Like, I really miss those times. And the times where bouncy balls were like the height of coolness. How many bouncy balls do you have? 3. I bet I can get mine on the roof. I bet you can't. I bet I can. 10 bets? Yeah, 10 bets. Like, no wonder my mother like wouldn't buy me anything. Like, we were really poor. And I'd be like, Mum, I really want a bouncy ball. Mum, can I have a bouncy ball? Mum, can I have a bouncy ball? No, because you'll only bounce on the roof. Yeah, that's the whole point. What a horrible child. Respect things that you have. That's what I've learned in my years. Respect things that you have.